Well, Facebook does not like me today. Maybe this is a sign from God that I'm not supposed to be talking about this, but I'm almost done, I promise. I just didn't want to leave you hanging here. Common triggers, that's where we were at. Those can be things like within our children, like transitions, right? Hunger, right? Halt is a big one. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Big, big one. So halt, take a look at that. Hunger, I know that my youngest, if she's hungry, oh, sweet baby Jesus. Sudden changes are rough, and our kids can really struggle to manage those. A feeling of lack of control, that can be very common, especially as our younger ones try to gain more independence and control over their lives and find out what those boundaries are. That can also then become a trigger. I know, right? Not going to win. Feelings of rejection or loss, that can be anxiety provoking. I know my youngest one deals with that. Feeling socially rejected can be a huge source of anxiety, especially if you have social anxiety, which my youngest one does not have that diagnosis, but my older one definitely does. Disruption in routine. That can be anxiety provoking if somebody needs that routine and structure and then all of a sudden it's gone for whatever reason. Transition maybe from parent to parent during a divorce situation, or going into summer after school and then going back into school after summer, right? Disruptions in routines. Lack of sleep, huge. Cannot stress enough how important sleep is. So these are some common triggers, right? And think about your own life. Maybe your job is a source of anxiety, your relationship is a source of anxiety, money is a source of anxiety. All these different things come into play. So knowing that anxiety is an involuntary response, we can't reason with it, but we can manage it. So how do we manage it? And if your kid is already in an anxiety attack situation, what do? Right? We know from part one, because now this is a 3-part series. From part one, our amygdala is online, our prefrontal cortex, our frontal lobe offline, no executive reasoning happening, but we have a ton of caveman brain happening. We have all this, increased dilation to our muscles. We have, rapid heart rate. Our body's ready to flee. We're either going to punch the bear in the face, we're going to run from the bear, or we're going to freeze and hope the bear doesn't eat us, right? Here we go. What do? Your child is already there. How do you help them? We try to help regulate the response. Mistakes that I have made, and I'm definitely going to go down to these do's and don'ts, but mistakes I have made when I didn't know any better, right, with the anxiety, is I thought it was voluntary, right? And that's something that's really important for me to stress. This is an involuntary response. You have to get them to regulate. You can't reason or rationalize with your child when they're in this state. It's just not going to happen. This is offline. So what we need to do is try to calm the body down. We have to slow the heart rate. We have to slow down the breathing, right? We have to let the body know, look, I'm okay, right? We have to tell it, I'm safe. Bear is not here anymore. So we can use some deep breathing techniques to calm the body. That's going to be helpful. Get eye-to-eye contact with your child. That's really important too. If they're in an anxiety response, try to get down on their level, look them in the eye, be really reassuring, be calm. And sometimes that can be hard if you're being triggered as your child is being triggered too. We have to check our own responses and come in trying to be as calm as possible, depending on the situation, right? These are all like best practices that I've learned, but I'm not saying that, you're going to be able to do this 100% of the time. They'll be perfect, right? Hug your child. If you can wrap your arms around them, let them know that they're safe and comforted. Maybe put a hand on their shoulder to reassure them. Just having that physical contact can be really helpful for a kid. Let them know that they're going to be okay, right? You don't want to validate the trigger, but you want to validate your love and concern for them, and that it's a fine balance. I'll use the bug example again. So when the bugs were there, at first I was like, oh yeah, spiders are really scary. Or I hate bees. They hurt when they sting. Yeah, I totally hate bees, right? But what I was doing was validating that anxiety and that fear and that phobia. And now it's like, oh, okay. I was contributing and I didn't realize what I was doing at the time. I was just trying to It was well-meaning reassurance. But what I can do is validate her where she's at. Okay, you're having some fear right now, and I hear you and see you. So what do we do when we feel this way? What can we do to calm your body down, right? So looking at that. These are big, anxiety is a big emotion. It's a big reaction. It's a physiological reaction. It's a psychological reaction. And so, your kid may be feeling totally sick to their stomach and nauseous and like, Mommy, I'm going to throw up. I can't, I can't do this. I can't do this, right? Especially on test day. I can't do this. I'm just going to throw up, and having to just reassure them, like their heart, but not reassure them their fear, right? And there's the line. So once they begin to calm down, we have to help them transition their bodies out of this flight, fight, freeze. So, have these tools in place. Maybe for kids, it's or yourself, it's a stress ball or playing with slime. Blowing bubbles is a big one. Yoga, if you're someone that loves yoga, you can go into Savasana and just kind of chill out and kind of be in the feelings, right? Because we have to build our distress intolerance, which means we have to be in those feelings, and that's going back to being comfortable with the uncomfortable. That can be really, really hard. Sometimes we need a physical response, like we need to chew gum or things of that nature, do something physical to help us manage our anxiety. That's okay too. Some don'ts, right? Learning the hard way. Kimberly has learned the hard way, so please learn from my mistakes. Don't try to control the situation or suggest that they need to just get over it. It's okay, just get over it. It's just a bug, right? I tried that too. Did not work. Made the situation worse, right? So don't try to minimize it or tell them that they need to get over it, right? Their body is on a train, right? Don't try to use consequences, and don't try to use punishment during the anxiety attack. Maybe they, in their attack, they were in fight mode and they punched you, right? And you go into, you're grounded. Oh my, I'm taking away this and da-da-da-da-da, because you're trying to change the behavior, but that is not the time. That is not the time for consequences. Remember, this is all checked out. Consequences aren't even going to land because their body is in a physiological response to their anxiety. So no punishment and no consequence is going to change this. And I really want people to understand that. It took me a long time to understand that too, because our legacy parenting style says if we don't like the behavior we see in our child, then we're going to use whatever we can to change that behavior, right? So parents have used many, many different methods, and typically they're consequence or punishment based, right? Don't validate the trigger, like I was saying earlier. Don't kind of get in there with them and be like, oh God, yeah, tests suck, and oh, I hated taking tests when I was a kid too, and I used to bomb my tests. Don't go there, right? Don't go there. Don't invalidate their feelings. Again, do not minimize the trigger and their response to the trigger, and don't tell them to calm down. Don't tell anybody having an anxiety attack to just calm down. That's not going to work either, right? You can get with them and help them try to regulate their breathing. Let's breathe, stay with me, right? Connect. But don't tell them to calm down or get over it. That's not going to work. It's going to piss them off. Pisses me off when someone just tells me to calm down. Like, no. So the response is over. We can support our kids by reflecting on the situation after we've had some time to reflect, right? The body's calm, we've connected, we're regulated. Maybe we go get something to eat, have a cup of tea, whatever that looks like. We've had a moment to just kind of calm down, a little bit of time. Then we can go back, and especially with our children or within ourselves, and reflect on the situation and start to think about what happened, what were my triggers, what was happening to my child, ask them questions, be curious, and listen to their children, because we may not think it's a big deal. It's a big deal to them. And that's sometimes hard as adults, we lose the child's perspective. And then it's very easy, or it's very important to make a plan with them, because they have to be on board with using the coping skills, right? I can't tell my child to go do some deep breathing exercises if they're not on board with it. And, you know, I can't tell my child to go blow bubbles if they think that that's the stupidest idea they ever heard, right? So start to become collaborative and talk to them. Well, what's going to work? When you feel this way, what can we do, right? And do it when they're calm, and start to brainstorm, you know, about that, and have that conversation with your children, or with yourself, right? Internally, have that conversation with yourself. Okay, what am I going to do next time when this happens? What's my plan? And it's and the plan needs to be plan A, and plan B, and plan C, and plan D, and plan E, especially with our kids. Because one thing that I think parents get stuck in is that they try one thing and it works one time and they think they found the golden ticket. Oh my gosh, she calmed down, this works, fantastic, woohoo! But the problem becomes sometimes not one size fits all, and you get into the next situation and you try to apply that coping strategy or skill and it doesn't work, and then you're stuck, because then you're in the moment, right? And when you're in the moment, it's hard to sometimes, you know, adjust your sail or redirect yourself, right? So have a plan A through E. Know, you know, get your child's feedback on that. For yourself, know, you know, do a plan A through C. Okay, these are the 3 things I'm going to do next time I'm feeling anxiety. If I start to panic, I'm going to, you know, use my 5 senses. I'm going to feel something, I'm going to touch something, I'm going to taste something, I'm going to bring myself back into my body, right? So do that. Know it's okay to change course. Know that that plan is going to evolve. So, you know, 2 years ago, slime was really effective with my younger one, but as she's grown older, slime doesn't work. So that plan has to evolve for ages and stages. And as adults, that plan will evolve as well. Maybe we didn't do yoga and we do yoga now, so we can incorporate that into our strategies and skills. So be ready to be fluid with that, right? It's okay to struggle with this. It's hard, right? There's no manual on this. I mean, there's tons of articles and stuff like that, but you know, as a parent, we're typically not prepared when we're faced with these situations. It can be really rough. So if you are a caregiver, if this is your child, you know, make sure that once everything is said and done, you go and refill your own bucket and take care of yourself. That's really super critical. You have to refill your bucket. Otherwise, you're trying to manage your child's situation from an empty space. And that's going to be really harder for you, if you're somebody who struggles with anxiety, to check yourself so you can be there and be present with your child. If you're the one, you know, struggling with anxiety, be kind and compassionate with yourself. Sometimes we're really hard. Why is this still happening? Why can't I get over this? Why do I still feel this way? Oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? And I want you to step back and just look at this and say, okay, this is something that I deal with. You know, I am not the sum of my diagnosis. Be kind, you know, self-love, right? All right, everybody, I'm going to be jumping off. I hope this now 3-part series was helpful. You know, video 1, we talked about some of the physiological responses in anxiety and what's happening to our body. Video 2 was really trying to identify flight, fight, freeze, you know, within yourself, within your child, what those, you know, what those things can look like. And of course, this video was triggers and how to help yourself or your kiddo during an anxiety attack. This is really, really high level stuff. Of course, if you want more information, feel free to reach out. We have an episode on anxiety in season 1. In season 4 coming out, we're doing OCD, which is going to be really cool, but some good tips that, you know, kind of apply to anxiety as well. So check us out, www.beingunnormal.com/podcast. And of course, if you need any help and you're thinking that this is really impacting your function and is a little bit more than just some anxiety, you know, really reach out to a mental health professional that can get you started in therapy, look at that process, figure out what you need to do, and go forward from there. Love everybody. Don't forget, season 4 premieres next Thursday, July 4th. Bipolar disorder. Super excited about that. Love everybody. Bye. Take care.